my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Okay everybody, so happy Tuesday and happy Valentine's Day. I hope you guys are having a good Valentine's Day so far. If you guys want to let me know how your Valentine's Day was, leave a comment down below. And for those of you who are bitter on Valentine's Day, I have a pretty good story time for you guys today. My Valentine's Day was pretty good. I was woken up with chocolates, flowers, a pink drink from Starbucks, and some Squishmallows. But other than that, I am going to bring you guys up close. There we go. Okay, everybody, so before we get into today's story time, I'm going to do my quick usual little rundown. For most of the video, I will be looking in this direction because my mirror's over here and I would like to see what I'm doing. I do tell these story times in a first-person point of view, so if you don't like that, then you can leave.
You can pack your things and leave. There's the door. There's the door, bitch!
And these story times are sent in by anonymous people. Okay, everybody, so story time about how I was dumped on Valentine's Day. Well, we all know that this is gonna be interesting, and like I said, those of you are bitter, you're gonna love this story time. So let's get into it. A little background information. I was 23 and I had just graduated college. This story actually starts in 10th grade when I met the love of my life, Jacob. He played baseball and we met at homecoming, which, funny thing, he was there with his girlfriend and I was there without a date, but we all went in a group because we had mutual friends that wanted everybody to go together and they wanted us all to pitch in for a limo for fucking high school homecoming. Yeah. Anyway, so we all went to homecoming together. It was fun, but his girlfriend had to leave right after homecoming, so him and our other friends and I, we all went to a bonfire that one of our friends was having. And just to be clear, I never had plans on getting with him, okay? I didn't even really know him. Literally, like, I had no idea who he was and I didn't even want to know who he was, okay? So get that out of your head right now that I was trying to get with her boyfriend, okay? Okay, but we are sitting in the backyard around the fire and everybody else is everywhere else. And when I say everywhere else, I mean everywhere else. People are on the roof, on the freaking roof. There's people in the pool, which literally looks like it has not been cleaned since the summertime. It's literally fucking green. And then there are other people who are, just being drunk idiot teenagers. So anyways, him and I are the ones sitting at the bonfire. We're sitting right next to each other and we get to talking. It's cold out. It's like around the end of September, beginning of October, and he realizes that I am cold because the fire literally is not a bonfire. It's like a fucking, it's as tall as a brick. This is what I have to deal with. It sounds like the fucking purge is going on outside. And I guess that he realizes that I'm cold because he offers me his jacket and I said, yeah, sure, I'll take it, thank you, not thinking anything of it. And then eventually, it's like later on in the night, we're all ready to go home or go to sleep. So he was like, hey, you know, I had a lot of fun tonight. I think that our friends should hang out more, blah, 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 blah. What's your Snapchat? And I'm pretty sure that he literally just said that so that way he could get my Snapchat, which I don't really know how I felt about, because I'm like, you have a girlfriend, but then again at the same time I'm like, you know, I did have a really good time talking to him, so I don't know, take that how you want to take it. So fast forward to Monday, I walk into school and I go to his locker to give him his jacket, and when I turn around I run into his girlfriend, who I thought that I had no issues with. I honestly got along with her at homecoming. We didn't even really speak too much, but from what I thought, there was no beef, okay? But apparently I was wrong, okay? Because she was like, I don't know what your weird fascination is with my boyfriend, but you're gonna do me a favor and stay away from him, okay? I don't know why you're Snapchatting him all of a sudden and trying to look cute in pictures that you send to him, and I don't know what happened between you and him after homecoming. And so I go to say, no, nothing happened, but then she cuts me off and she's like, listen, quite frankly, I don't want to know, but you're gonna do this, you're gonna take this as a warning, and you're gonna stay the fuck away from my boyfriend. Got it? Good. So, yeah, I really didn't give a shit about her boyfriend, but he ended up blocking me on Snapchat. And then fast forward to the summertime, I get a job in the mall working at Victoria's Secret, and I am working at the register. And I go to turn around to continue bringing people up when I see Jacob standing in front of me. Okay, so I'm like, oh, he's probably here buying something for his girlfriend. So I try ringing up his stuff as fast as possible so that way he doesn't recognize me, hopefully. Because listen, things were already awkward enough as it was because of the fact that he blocked me. Well, I guess not only the fact that he blocked me, but also all of our friends did hang out again, like, you know, because we're mutual friends. So anytime that we would hang out, I would have to keep my distance from him, and his girlfriend would literally just side-eye me the whole time and just give me dirty looks for no reason. Like, well, he ends up noticing that it's me, and he turns around and he's like, hey, OMG, how are you? How has your summer been so far? And I am very surprised at the warm introduction. Like, I was not expecting it, to be honest. I was gonna expect him to be like, you know, like, bye. So, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm great, how are you doing? And, you know, he responds with, I'm good, you know, just picking up a few things here. And I'm like, oh yeah, for your girlfriend, right? And to my surprise, even though I really didn't care if it was his girlfriend or not, anyways, just had to put that out there. He's like, no, actually, I'm here buying something for my mom for her birthday. She really likes the perfume and lip gloss that they have here, so yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, actually, I broke up with my girlfriend. And I'm like, oh, you did? So yeah, he says that him and his girlfriend broke up at the beginning of summertime. So I'm like, oh, sorry, you know, that sucks. And he's like, no, actually, I decided to break it off with her because she was just acting like a completely different person. I really didn't recognize her anymore. So I'm like, oh. And then it's kind of like a little bit of awkward silence. And then I go to give him his stuff so he can get the hell out of the store before even more awkward silence is to come. And he turns around and he's like, hey, can I actually get your phone number? I would really like to catch up with you sometime. I know that anytime that we've hung out before, we haven't really talked, but yeah. So I end up giving him my phone number, and we do end up hanging out a few times after that. We went to a baseball game, we went to the zoo. He took me, I would consider them dates, okay? We weren't just hanging out, he was taking me out on dates, okay? Because they were like kind of romantic, but also we were friends, if that makes sense. And ever since then, we hit it off. And he asked me to be his girlfriend after probably 2 weeks of us hanging out. And yeah, after that, we were literally inseparable. But everybody didn't mind hanging out with the both of us. You know those couples that are super annoying because they always have to be together 24/7? Well, we were one of those couples, but nobody minded being around us because of the fact that we weren't the couple to hang all over each other or, you know, be making out literally while we're walking on the sidewalk or anything like that. Everybody actually thought that we were super cute, and yeah. So we ended up dating all throughout high school, and we even decided to go to the same college together. There were definitely some rocky parts, but nothing that we couldn't handle because we were a strong power couple. Well, anyways, our families absolutely adored each other, okay? I think we were truly meant to be, like, we both realized we were meant to be together after we took a family trip, and that was around our freshman year of college, I want to say. My parents really got to know his family, and his parents got to know my family, and we all just bonded super quickly. It was one of those things where my dad became best friends with his dad, and our moms loved each other. Even my sister became like best friends with his brother, but his brother is gay, so don't think it's in that way. no, they were just friends. So, you know, like I said, we are in college and he is going to college to get a business degree. He wanted to follow in his stepdad's footsteps of working on Wall Street. And yeah, he just wanted to be super successful like his stepfather. And I went to school for public relations in hopes to one day get a job with my sister or working for her. My sister was extremely successful, okay? She ran social media accounts for top athletes and a bunch of companies. It was a really cool job, you know, she got me interested. So yeah, we both had really big dreams that we were following after, and it was awesome to do it together with the person that I thought I was meant to be with for the rest of my life. So throughout college, Jacob and I, we would help each other study on tests, and we had this little tradition of if either of us, well, if both of us got at least a B on any of our tests or exams or anything like that, we would be able to have a date night. And our favorite spot to go was this little Italian place that was on the water. It was super romantic, and we loved going there because the owner would give us alcohol even though we were both under 21. But fast forward, him and I actually end up getting a dog, and we had argued about like what dog we were gonna get for 3 months. Like anytime that we saw a dog that either one of us liked, we were like, oh, I want to get, and the other one's like, I don't like that dog, it's ugly, or ooh, that dog is like too loud, blah 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 blah, right? And he wanted a pit bull, I wanted a Boston Terrier. So what did we get? We got a German Shepherd, which literally looks nothing like either of the fucking dogs that we wanted, but we settled on it. I think the actual reason why we got the German Shepherd was because I was like, oh, I don't like that dog. And he's like, well, I like it. And then I'm like, fine, I like it too. And then he was like, fuck, you know, like I shouldn't have said that, but then we got the dog anyways because he didn't want to go back on his word. He had too much pride. But fast forward, I literally loved every moment that I got to spend with Jake. Our relationship was amazing, but fast forward to our junior year of college, we both went through a lot of changes, more so like family changes. Jacob's mom ended up having a heart attack, and she was able to recover from the first one, but she ended up having 4 more after that, and she passed away eventually, like within 3 months. And this was extremely hard on him, not only because it was his mom, but more so because of the fact that his father passed away before he was born due to addiction. So him and his mom have been on their own until Jake turned 13, I want to say. That's whenever his stepdad came into the picture. His name was Richard, and don't get me wrong, Richard was a super good guy, and he tried his best to be a father to Jacob, but Richard also had other kids that he had to take care of, obviously, and he couldn't directly put all of his time into Jacob and Jacob's needs. And also, not only that, Jacob didn't give him the warmest welcome into the family, you know? He didn't want him to be a part of his family at first. So yeah, this took a really big toll on Jacob. I would say we spent a very good amount of time trying to recover from this, you know, from his mother passing, but he went into a very deep depression. And you know, I've seen people be depressed, okay? I've seen it. This was nothing like the depression that I've ever seen in my life. Like, this was a different type of depression. The days leading up to his mother's funeral were absolutely awful. He wouldn't leave his bedroom to eat, go to the bathroom, or anything. He literally would cry all day. I literally got noise complaints every single night leading up to the funeral because of the fact that he would literally cry so freaking loud, and the neighbors would be like, hey, like, can you tell your boyfriend to shut the fuck up? We don't give a fuck if his mom died, which was very insensitive, but at the same time, he would literally just randomly cry throughout the night, so I kind of get it. It was just heartbreaking, honestly. There would be mornings where he would literally beg me not to go to class because he just wanted me to lay in bed with him all day, and I would stay home with him all day because I would hope that he would do the same for me if I was in his situation, you know? So we would turn on the TV, get some snacks, and pretty much just lay there and do nothing. Literally the whole day, the whole entire day. So after that god-awful week, his mother's funeral finally came around, and the night before her funeral, we had both went to sleep super early, and I had woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom when I realized that Jake is gone, literally gone. So I hurry up and I start looking for him, and I called his stepdad to see if he might be over there, but of course he is not. So then I call his brother, and his brother doesn't answer the phone. Well, I look outside, the car is missing, so at that point I decided to call the police because with the way that he's been acting lately, I just can't risk leaving him alone or not worrying about him when he disappears like this. Especially with the state of mind that he was in, I was very worried about him harming himself. Well, finally, I get a call, and my boyfriend is at a local bar right down the street, so I hurry up, put my slippers on, put my robe on, and I run down there at like 4 in the morning by myself. And once I get there, I see him sitting alone at the bar sobbing, and the owner comes over and he talks to me, and he's like, listen, you need to get him out of here. This bar is usually packed until closing, but ever since he got here, he's been driving my business out. Like, you gotta get your boyfriend and you gotta go. This is not a mental hospital. This is not therapy. Get him the fuck out. So I managed to get him in the car and get him home, but now I literally have to sit there all night awake making sure that he doesn't go off and do some other dumb shit. And in the morning, his stepdad comes and gets us, and we meet a bunch of his other family members for breakfast at his stepdad's house. And I only met these family members a few times, but fast forward, we're all eating, and Jacob says that he needs to go to the bathroom. Well, about 20 minutes after he comes back, I look over next to me, and Jacob's face is literally in his food. So now we're all freaking out. I don't even know what. He knocked over his drink. You could definitely tell that he wasn't sober. So we changed him into something that his stepdad had in the closet. And about 20 minutes after the whole situation, I hear through the grapevine that his aunt gave him a Xanax to help him calm down. So now everybody's arguing with each other whether she did the right thing or the wrong thing. Obviously, she did the wrong thing. Right there, she is helping to start an addiction. So good job. So anyways, he's pretty much in and out of it, nodding off, and we go to the funeral home. We literally have to put him in a wheelchair because he just won't walk. I was happy that she gave him the Xanax, to be honest, even though, like I just said, that was terrible, but at the same time, he won't make a scene. But then also, he really won't remember his mom's funeral, so it's like a type of situation. For the next few months, he cut off all of his friends, and he stopped talking to his brother, his stepdad, and he also was failing all of his classes, which wasn't a surprise because he literally wouldn't go. He didn't even go online and check any of his emails from any of his professors or anything. And I knew that he was going through a rough time, so of course I didn't take anything that he said or did personally. I knew it wasn't me. I knew I wasn't the problem. I just tried to be there for him every step of the way, which was a little hard whenever you have somebody screaming at you, get the fuck out, when you walk into a room. Even when he would want to be alone, and listen, I know this sounds mean, but I would not let him be alone. Like, I actually had to treat him like a 3-year-old, because when I tell you guys that he was unpredictable, he was unpredictable. And if you know, then you know what I mean. Well, then the unthinkable happens. The one day I am out getting groceries, and when I get home, I go into the bedroom and Jacob is not there. And I'm kind of like, oh, like, you know, this is great. You know, he got up out of bed, he was feeling productive. No. That's not at all what it was. He did not want to be productive. He wanted to unalive himself. Because I'm walking around and I try to find him, and then I realize that our bathroom door is shut. Our bathroom door in our house is never shut. Nobody shuts it. And I know that sounds gross, but mind your fucking business, okay? Anyways, the bathroom door is shut, and I know. I go over there, I'm pounding on the door, no answers. So I call the cops. That's the first thing that I do. I'm like, listen, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling them about how, you know, he's low-key, like, idle, you know, that word. So I am fighting to get this door open, and finally when I get the door open, I see him laying on the ground with a bottle of pills next to him, and thank God at the same time the police arrived. So they got there just in the nick of time too, because if it would have been like maybe 3 minutes later, he would have been dead. Yeah. After this incident, him and I had a long talk while he was in the hospital about how things needed to change, and about how his mother would be absolutely sick if she could see how things were going for him right now, you know? So that's what happened. When he got out of the hospital, things changed. We got him into online classes until he felt well enough to actually go to in-person classes. And the first thing that we did whenever we got home, we took down the blackout curtains, okay? Because his favorite thing in the world to do was anytime that I opened the curtains to try and get him motivated to do something, nope, he would get up, shut those curtains, lay down, go to sleep, because he wasn't able to tell whether it was day or night. He did not want to know what the hell was going on in the outside world. Okay, and yeah, I just kind of tried to get him back to normal after that. You know, I took him to go get a haircut. I took him to the dentist because he had not been brushing his teeth over this past little while that he's been in this depression, and it is not disgusting, okay? When people go through depression, people have different problems. Some people don't clean the room. Some people don't brush their teeth. Some people don't bathe, okay? We don't judge here, period. And after that, he thanked me, which I appreciated, but at the same time, I would have hoped that he would have done the same exact thing for me. So it was not even a question that I would do it 1,000 times over. Also, to be honest, I thought that this made us even stronger. Well, after we were in this little recovery for the next 2 months, he had gotten in contact with his friends and his family, making amends with them, apologizing, you know, but his family was still extremely concerned about his mental health and just overall well-being. So he agreed to go and see a psychiatrist to make them happy, you know. He was like, I doubt there's anything wrong with me, but you know, sure, if it'll make them happy, I'll do it, you know? It was pretty much one of those things where I want them to shut the fuck up and leave me alone about this, so whatever they want, I'll just do it. So he ended up being diagnosed with depression and anxiety, which was no surprise to me, and he was super upset about this at first. He literally went and saw 2 other psychiatrists that diagnosed him with the same exact thing, if not even worse. So he had talked to his stepdad about it, and his stepdad was like, listen, like, it runs in your mom's side of the family, you know, your mom was actually on meds for it, and he didn't believe him. So his stepdad had literally not gotten rid of any of Jacob's mother's things. Like, I don't blame him, of course, but he didn't even get rid of her medication. So he took him upstairs. He was like, listen, your mom even took meds for it. Like, here you go, look. So Jacob felt a little bit less alone knowing that his mother had went through the same thing. So, you know, he was more open to it at that point, and we switched his classes back, and our lives were back on track, and everything was back to normal, which I was super happy about, because even though I was trying to be there and trying to be the most supportive girlfriend in the world, it was hard, okay? Because I also was feeling neglected and depressed myself from the lack of emotion / attention I was getting in the relationship. Like, that sort of thing is kind of draining, which sounds selfish, but at the same time, a person can only handle so much, okay? Fast forward to the summertime, everything was going great, and we were really excited for our senior year. We planned on finishing school together as a strong power couple, which I knew that we would, because the whole summer, him and I had been talking about our lives after graduating college, aka getting an apartment together, getting our dream jobs, how much children we both want together, etc. Well, just when we think that we can catch a break and everything will be easy in our lives for once, wrong. No, because it can never just be easy, okay? The beginning of our senior year, my grandmother passed away, okay? And that threw me into a deep depression. Now it's my turn. It definitely wasn't as bad as Jake's, but we're not gonna compare trauma. I was devastated, okay? Because she was a huge part of my life. Like, I had another grandparent pass away not too long ago before this, but that was like a grandparent that I saw, you know, on Christmas once a year. so it really wasn't as heartbreaking to me as this one was, because my grandmother, Jane, was always around, okay? When my mom would be working, I would be at her house. Not to mention, my mom had my sister and I pretty young, so whenever my mom and my dad went off to college, they left us with my grandma, because even though they had my sister and I at a young age, they decided that they still wanted to follow their dreams and, you know, give us a great life. And I didn't mind this because honestly, most of my best childhood memories were at my grandma's. One of my favorite memories of my grandma, my sister and I was we would all go to the thrift store and we would pick up the most extra dresses and the most ridiculous high heel shoes, and we would go home and we would play dress up and play princesses. And yeah, when she passed away, this really hurt me, and I got a tattoo for her, but obviously I still felt like something in my life was missing, okay? I never had somebody so close to me pass away before, so I didn't really know how to process death. So after this, I started living every day like it could be my last. I started to party more, I was drinking, smoking. I just did a bunch of stupid shit that I really regret. But one of the biggest things that I regret is I stupidly decided that one night after the bar, I was going to drive home, and drive 30 minutes home, by the way, because I had met some new friends that weren't really good influences, and it was one of those things where misery loves company, and those people also were in a terrible place in their life, so we all decided to be terrible together. Well, while I was driving home, I ended up totaling my car, and I injured my leg really badly. I needed 30 stitches up my thigh and a skin graft to save my life. It was honestly one of the most stupid mistakes ever, and one of the dumbest things that anybody ever could have done. Like, I don't know what made me sit there and think, wow, I'm sober enough to drive 30 minutes home from this bar that I've spent 5 hours at. But I was thankful that I did not pass away, and after I got out of the hospital, it felt like I had a second chance, you know, that I had to take the same advice that I gave Jacob, in the sense that my grandma would be absolutely mortified if she could see the way that I was acting right now and how much her death really has impacted me in a bad way. Jacob was mad at me for a while, but obviously he was supportive just like I was supportive to him. And once I decided to get my life back on track and clean myself up, I went back to school and I picked up right where I left off. If anything, I was better than I was before. My grades had never been better, and I felt like I could do anything, okay? Now, with that being said, I also felt like my relationship was stronger than it had ever been before. That year, obviously, we were getting ready for our lives outside of being college students. We decided that we were gonna move to an apartment in New York, and we would work on getting our dream jobs, you know? And I feel like that was one of my favorite things about our relationship. You know, we both encouraged each other to go after what we wanted. You know, even if we had to move to Alaska for one of us to be able to achieve our dreams, we were ready. So everything was going perfect. He got an internship at a place on Wall Street that one of his stepdad's friends worked at, and I was gonna help my sister manage some of her lower clients till I could bring in some of my own. Everything was super excited. We were both ready for the next steps in our life. I mean, at least I thought that we were ready for the next chapter in our life, but I did not expect the next chapter to be a child. Yup. You heard that right. The one day I came home and Jacob was visiting his stepdad for the weekend, but of course the day that he left, I woke up, I felt disgusting, I had morning sickness, and I think throughout the day is when I realized, wow, I actually haven't had my period. So just in case, I decided to go and get a pregnancy test. What do you know? I take the test, it's positive. Of course it is. So I'm kind of freaking out because we had gotten to a point in our lives where we could finally focus on ourselves and each other, and our lives were finally easy. But I feel like we could just not catch a break. So I decided that right now was not the best time to tell him, okay? I was like, you know what? We're just gonna put this off for a little while. Well, he gets home Sunday night and our anniversary was coming up. So we decided to get reservations at a restaurant nearby. Fast forward to our anniversary, I get all dressed up and we're driving, and I realized that we are nowhere near the restaurant that we were supposed to go to. So I asked him where we're going, and he's like, it's a surprise, don't worry about it, because we've literally been in the car for over an hour, okay? If he hadn't been my boyfriend for the past like 6 years, I would think that he was gonna kidnap me. This is giving serial killer vibes. Well, we pull up to some cute little restaurant, and to my surprise, his stepdad meets us out front. And now I'm extremely confused because I thought this was supposed to be, you know, a cute romantic type of thing, not something where your stepdad meets us at a restaurant on our anniversary. Weird. Like, this was supposed to be an intimate night, not a family reunion. So when I'm talking to his dad, Jake runs inside, and his dad gets a text on his phone, and he's like, all right, well, you know, I think everything's set up, so let's go inside. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So we walk inside, and his dad turns on the lights, and everybody yells, surprise, and it's my sister, my mom, my dad, all of his family. And then, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I turn around, and Jacob is on one knee with a ring on his hand, proposing, asking me to marry him. And of course I said yes, because this man is literally the love of my life, literally my high school sweetheart, the man that I want to be with, have children with, everything. Okay, so fast forward, our lives are great, and do not think that I forgot about the fact that I am pregnant, okay, because that has been numero uno on my mind. Okay, so fast forward, our lives are great. Okay, fast forward another month, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, of course, and him and I both have to work on Monday, and Monday is of course Valentine's Day. So we decide that we're going to go to dinner on Sunday. And ever since we got engaged, I have like on the down low been bringing up us having kids and how many kids we would want, and oh, I can't wait to see what our kids will look like. I can't wait to see what they'll want to do when they're older, blah blah blah. And you know, he would be like, yeah, I can't wait to have kids with you, this, that, and the next. That'll be the best day of my life. So I'm thinking that if anything, he would be happy that I'm pregnant, okay? So I decide what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a pacifier inside of a ring box, and while we're at dinner, I am going to give him the box, and he will open it, and he's gonna see the pacifier in there, and he's gonna be like, oh my god, you're pregnant, ah! We'll get there. Anyways, okay. So, fast forward to dinner time. I am extremely nervous. Like, I literally feel like I'm gonna pass out. I need to take a nap. I need some anxiety meds, something to calm me down, because literally I was shaking the whole time. Like, I would go to drink water and I'd be like this. I was just so nervous to tell him because I've been hiding it from him for a few months now, and I just really hope that he is as excited as I am to have a child. So we're sitting there, and he gives me my Valentine's Day gift, and you know, he gives me this really cute necklace, and after that I give him my gift, and he opens it and he looks in the box extremely confused. He looks at it and he's like, and I'm like, what? And he's like, is this a joke? There's nothing in here. And I was like, what the fuck? Well, I guess that the pacifier must have fell out of the freaking box somehow, some way. Of course this would happen. The universe just doesn't want to work in my favor. So now I have to verbally tell him that I am pregnant. Great. This is what I was trying to avoid. So I look at him and I'm like, okay, so you know how we've been talking about our future together? And he looks at me and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm pregnant. And he just stares at me in shock. And the first thing that comes out of his mouth, well, how far along are you? Not what I was expecting. I was expecting, OMG, that's amazing. I'm so excited. Do you know if it's a boy or a girl? Blah, 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 blah. No, it's, well, how far along are you? And purposely, I had actually not been paying attention to how far along I was because I was dreading this moment. So he looks at me and he's like, you don't even know how far along you are. And I'm like, well, I mean, a few months, I guess. And he's like, what do you mean, you guess? Did I stutter? I said, I guess. Like, he was really getting on my fucking nerves, especially with the fact that he just came at me with a fucking attitude after I told him that I was pregnant with his child. Disgusting. So it was like, well, I would thought that you would be happy because of the fact that you've literally been saying for the past few months that you would be excited if we had kids, you know, you can't wait till I get pregnant one day. And he was like, yeah, but we were just talking. He was like, it was metaphorically, not fucking literally. So with my pregnant hormones, I cannot handle this attitude and bullshit that is coming out of his mouth. So I get my pregnant ass up out of the chair and I walked myself to the car. And also, he should have known that I was pregnant, because I'm not gonna say that I was getting like, so I'm a tiny girl, okay? And like, I had a bump. I was not getting fat, I was not bloated, I had a baby bump, you know? And I feel like a baby bump is very distinguishable than somebody just gaining weight, okay? Okay. So I go to the car. He doesn't even run after me. Now I'm even more upset than I was before. So now I'm literally like about to start crying. I walk back into the restaurant and I look at him and I sit back down at the table, and then he's like, we can go home. So now I just look like a pathetic girl that has a terrible boyfriend and I just let him treat me like shit. But that's not what the issue is. The issue is he's being a literal douchebag. So we go home. I'm tired, I'm stressed out, and then he's like, well, I want to go to sleep. And I'm like, we need to talk about this. I need to know whether you're in this or not, because I'm pretty sure it's too late for me to go in this thing, you know? So I go lay down, I go to sleep, and I wake up at like 11 o'clock. He's not even in bed. I go out to the living room, he's sleeping like a baby on the fucking couch. So I grab the closest thing to me, which I'm pretty sure was like the fucking remote, and I throw it at him. And he wakes up and he's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you know what the fuck is wrong? Get your ass up so we can fucking talk about this right now. So he's like, okay, what do you want to talk about? What do you mean what? There's literally a fucking elephant in the room that you are ignoring that is literally as tall as the fucking Eiffel Tower. How can you not see the fucking elephant in the room? Are you blind? I don't think so. So then he's like, okay, what do you want me to say? And I was like, I don't know, maybe you could say that you're happy that I'm having your kid, or just tell me how you're feeling. And he's like, well, to be honest, I don't know how I feel. I feel betrayed. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Okay, why do you feel betrayed? And he's like, well, I just feel like you should have told me earlier. Fair point, I guess. He's like, I just feel blindsided, and I honestly just don't know if I can trust you anymore. I don't know how we can recover from this. Like, this just really broke my trust. And I'm like, this out of all things broke your trust. This. Me being pregnant with your child broke your trust. Okay, whatever. He was literally being a fucking baby, a fucking crybaby. Cry me a river. I don't give a fuck at this point. So then he says, what you don't say to a pregnant woman who literally has exploding hormones and is bipolar as fuck, okay? He says, I just think we need to take a break. Nope, that's where he messed up, because that is whenever I started screaming, I'm crying, I'm grabbing anything that I can find to fucking throw it at his head to hopefully knock some fucking sense into him, okay? I literally grab a fucking lamp and throw it at him, and he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Da -da -da. Okay, and then what does he do? He calls the cops on a pregnant woman. Who would do that? Like, geez, like, anyways, so the cops come. I start screaming and throwing shit at them too, so they arrest me, okay? So, you know, my sister comes and picks me up in the morning, and she's extremely pissed off because, one, she didn't know that I was pregnant, and number two, she had to drive 3 hours from where she lives, so you know I heard that all the way to my fucking apartment, and she gave me a lecture in the parking lot. We literally did not leave the freaking jail parking lot for like 30 minutes because she had to fucking lecture me. She was like, I should fire you. And I'm like, she was just being a bitch. That's what she was doing. So then she was like, well, why didn't you tell anybody that you were pregnant? And I was like, well, I was supposed to surprise everybody, but that's ruined now. So, you know, she finally calms down. We talk about what happened last night, you know, the little stunt that my boyfriend pulled, calling the fucking police on a pregnant woman. I'm just still so surprised. Who would do that? Obviously Jacob. Okay, anyways. So we drive to my apartment. I go up to the door, and there's a letter taped to the door, and it has my name on it. So I rip this shit off the fucking door, and I read it, and it says, I don't have the heart to do this face to face, but I feel super betrayed about the fact that you lied to me about being pregnant for so long. I just feel like we're both not responsible enough for this type of relationship. I shouldn't have proposed to you. It was too early in our relationship. We've been dating since we were literally in high school. So a good like 5-6 years maybe, I wanna say. Yeah. So yeah, but we were too, like, our relationship wasn't mature enough yet. So he was also saying that he's not ready for a child and he wants me to get rid of it. And yeah, he just thinks that we shouldn't be together. So then I open the door and I find him sleeping in the bedroom on the bed. And I wake him up as nice as I can, which is me freaking turning the light on and screaming at him again. He's literally making my blood pressure go through the roof. Like, this is not good for my child. So, you know, he's telling me that he doesn't want us to have this baby and, you know, completely disregards the fact that it's also Valentine's Day, which, what a piece of crap. So he asked my sister to remove me from the bedroom. So I go out in the living room and she comes out and she's like, listen, she was like, I just think that you need to pack your stuff. I'm looking at her like she's a psycho now, because what is everybody on? Like, what the F? Like, I know I can't use the fact that I'm pregnant as an excuse for everything, but at the same time, I'm pregnant. The fuck? So then he tells me the real truth. He's like, listen, he was like, the reason why I'm not ready for a child is because I want to see other people. And I'm like, hold on a minute, hold on a minute, hold on a minute. But before I can even get a word out, he was like, yeah, I was gonna tell you last night at dinner, but then you told me you were pregnant. So yeah, and I found out that same day. He was like, listen, like, he was like, I feel like you deserve honesty because we've been together for so long, but I have been talking to this one girl at my work and I just feel like you're not the right person for me and I'm not the right person for you. I'm not in love with you anymore. Which broke my heart, because I had literally planned every single day for the rest of my life with this man, and I was now carrying his child, which I thought was going to come into the world loved by both of us, when someone doesn't even fucking want it. So after that, I have the baby and I ended up giving it up for adoption. And then fast forward a year, he comes to my house, and I lived with my parents at the time, and he tells me that he made a mistake. He thought that I wasn't the right person for him, but I ended up being the right person for him. And yeah, that was it. I literally closed the door and just never talked to him ever again. So yeah, that is how I got dumped on Valentine's Day. Okay, everybody, that is the end of today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of me, maybe hit that subscribe button down below. And if you want to know whenever I post my next video, make sure to click that bell. And if you want to know how to send in your anonymous story time, or you want to send in your anonymous story time, make sure to click the links down below in the description. But other than that, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope that everybody had a good day, and if you didn't, there's always next year, and I love all of you. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video.